first, I'm speaking as an individual and not for any organization. At the Planning Commission's work session, it was mentioned that Cape Charles doesn't have a workforce housing problem because our workers don't live in town, they live in the county. Well, I would like to say that that is wrong factually and morally. Many of us, the Drummings, the Galloways, the Harmons, the Wiggins, the Hendersons, myself, we live and work right here in town. And we're not high schoolers living with our parents or retirees as was suggested. We just come from families who were able to hold on to their property, and that luck does not erase the problem. There's another group, the people who cook our meals, pour our coffee, and work in our town office, who have deep ties to the area but can't afford to live in town. Ask them where they live and whether they'd like to move to Cape Charles if they could. Everyone I asked said yes. And that's not a coincidence, that's policy. And despite what some have said, it's not the county's or the state's, it's yours. Zoning and land use are local choices. When you say your hands are tied, they're not. The real estate market responds to your policies and not the other way around. The same local bodies that codified STRs as by right in the R1 residential zone can make new policies to support the people who are displaced via subsidized housing and changes to zoning laws. When policy decides who gets to live near opportunity, it's not preserving character, which continues to be a top concern among residents of your yearly survey. It's instead enforcing class segregation. I also heard the commissioner say affordable housing is appropriate for the Harbor Railroad area because it's prime real estate. How is that different from what we often heard about the Section 8 housing at Seabreeze? The message is the same. Working class people don't belong here, they belong over there. County projects and the town's RFP on Passat Parkway fall short. They push affordability to the margins, literally and symbolically, while preserving the best land for those who already have plenty. And no one's against those rights to multiple houses or passive income, but if we're being asked to respect others' rights to earn more than enough, they should care about our right to have enough at all. And if we truly value Cape Charles' small town character, which is all about knowing and caring for one another, then we have to prove it in what we build and who we include. So the real question shouldn't be how much our homes are worth, but how much our neighbors are worth to us. Thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Pastor Ricky Rouse.
Good evening again, council. Not gonna be before you long, because as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, I have somewhere I have to be. All right. But I just wanted to come and say amen to everything that Ms. McMath just said. As I've been here before, and I know Mr. Grossman, you just said we're gonna set up a meeting for next week or sometime soon. It's not lost on me the surrounding demographic of Cape Charles. Being here, I see no kids playing in the street. I see no school buses going down the road. I see no families really enjoying themselves that are residents of the town. Now that the season has passed, it's pretty quiet. So where are the residents? Where are the people who live here? Where are the families? And as Ms. McMath just said, I know the last time I was here, it was said that you all don't control the market, how much things sell for, and we understand that. But as she just finished stating, you do have some control, some say, over zoning laws, over making things intentionally more affordable for everyday citizens. I just can't get over the fact that my wife is a nurse practitioner. I'm a pastor and a business owner. We have a good income. But I would still struggle to live here in Cape Charles. And that's absurd in my point of view. I know that there are areas outside of here, as has been stated, that are being made more affordable and what have you, and that's great. But why don't those same persons have the ability to come here and make a life for themselves as well? So I'm hoping that with the upcoming, I've heard about the upcoming land area by the railroad. I'm not not familiar with that completely. I've heard some rumblings about some land that is gonna be developed possibly by the town or by someone else. But whether the town purchases the land and does something with it, whether somebody else purchases it and does something with it, the persons that I stand before, you all have some measure of control over what happens with it. So it'd be my hope that if we can't make something happen with the areas that are already been developed, the areas that are to be developed, we'll also keep in mind those who are less fortunate, those who are maybe among the least of these, but not necessarily those persons who are poor, but who work as teachers, who work in the town, utility department or wherever. Professionals who have decent jobs, but can't afford to pay $800,000 to $1 million for a home. Why not make part of that development a townhome community or something more affordable where everyday citizens can also take part in all that Cape Charles has to offer. As I said, being here for the past year or two off and on, it's a great town, but I believe that everyone should have the opportunity to be able to live and work and play in Cape Charles and not those who are just the most elite among us, because it seems like, it feels like, I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but it feels like it's intentionally being developed to be a place for those who are of a certain status to be, and everybody else can go over there and play. You can come here and go to the beach and do whatever, but we don't want you living here. I hope I'm wrong again, but that's the way it feels. So I hope you all take that into consideration as you're continuing to develop, as you're continuing to make plans for the future, that you think about everyone. And I'm not talking about, subsidies for Section 8 or nothing wrong with that. I'm not talking about, necessarily making room for those who may quote unquote be poor, who may bring in some mischief. I'm familiar with that. I'm from Virginia Beach, a resort city, so I know how this works. But if the town council or city council are intentional about what you do, you can develop, you can continue to have $1 million+ homes, you can continue to bring in great tourism, all while still making space for the everyday average working class person. So that's what my heart's content is to you all, or my plea to you all, is that as you continue to develop, continue to make plans, that you'll remember everyone and not just those who are the most blessed or elite among us. All right? Thank you for your time.
Thank
Have
you.
a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you. So any more comments?
Nobody else has signed up, and I have not received anything in writing.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm late. Sam and Coastal Cities.
Okay,
I did.
you want to go back to do the
So let's go
presentation?
back. We'll go back to recognition of visitors and presentations. Coastal Seaplanes Operation Presentation. Sam.
Yes, thank you so much. My apologies, we're late. We had bad traffic to get here. My name is Sam Riggs, CEO and founder of Coastal Seaplanes. And I'm very excited to stand before you tonight to talk about what we're building here in Cape Charles. Started back in January of 2024 as something that we felt Cape Charles would not only benefit from, but I thought that the region in general would benefit from. So what we did is we built over the last year 8 seaplane bases on the lower Chesapeake Bay. Now we go into every swinging harbor on the Chesapeake Bay, but as a company we moved here to build this company. As it stands, we are the first commercial seaplane operator on the Chesapeake Bay in history. Now how that's possible in 2025, all this water, I don't know, but here we are. So, go back up. We are locally owned and operated. My wife there is she's a medevac helicopter pilot. She's on nights right now. That's why I got Ruck with me here tonight. And that's him right there. We're based in Hampton Roads. We do live in Newport News, right across the drink there. We've turned that drive, which is about 2.5 hours with traffic, into 15 minutes from takeoff to touchdown. So what we've been able to do is to drive traffic, tourism dollars, and to Cape Charles, but also provide a means of transportation to the eastern shore that didn't exist before. So we're a Part 135 air carrier. What that means is we're basically a small airline. So the FAA holds us to the highest standards for maintenance, pilot training, operational standards. We don't get breaks, we don't ask for breaks. We're not a tour company, although we do provide tours. We're mainly a charter company, and we're looking to push forward even past that and become scheduled flights, so that you could just buy one seat, one way, and not have to charter the entire aircraft like you do. We've got all kinds of stuff in place: noise prevention, safety procedures, and we are U.S. Coast Guard compliant. So when we're on the water, we're considered a vessel by the Coast Guard. As I said before, we offer charter flights, weekend getaways, experience and adventures, government and survey support, and regional connectivity. Now, the regional connectivity is something that we've sort of become an expert in. We've been able to bring people out of Cape Charles to Annapolis to Baltimore, folks from Richmond over here to play golf. We've flown 2 clients in this year that both ended up buying property here in Cape Charles. I wanted to include that into our revenue that we brought in, but I didn't. But I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, we're ready. So the vision for Cape Charles, when we started this off, we were taking off and landing in Kings Creek. It was, I felt like a really good spot for us, but the oyster farm, they tore up our lease at some point when their conglomerate got wind of it, and even though we had everything set forth, named insurance, all the good stuff going, I guess when the Stacker 2 company found out about it, they said they didn't want it, so they ripped up our lease and we were on the streets, so to speak, until I was able to talk with Miss Paula in the harbor, and together her and I walked this up to last year. Well, I guess it was earlier this year. I wasn't able to be present at that meeting, but it was approved for us to build a seaplane dock in the town harbor. So we did. I built it myself. Rook was there when we put it in, and it's very small. It was our proof of concept dock. We put 1 aircraft on it, and it's kind of tucked in up against a bunch of riprap and stuff like that that wasn't getting used much, and so we felt like it was the perfect spot to put that in. So we have, and I'll show you on the next, I think it's on the next page. No, it's on the one after that, but that's okay. Go back to if you don't mind. So what we have done is we have driven over $100,000 of tax revenue into Cape Charles in 6 months. Because what we do want to do is we watch Cape Charles double down on, sort of becoming this destination. We see a lot of success happening here in that realm. I know there's all kinds of tension between people who have lived here their whole lives and people who have just discovered this for the first time. I'm familiar with that kind of tension and growth. We are an every man's airline. We are not an upper echelon charter company. We fly folks with all kinds of needs. And so what we'd like to be is sort of that lubricant that helps open up Cape Charles to everybody. So, for example, we've got not this Sunday, but a week from Sunday. We have our Seaplane Sunday that we do every year where we take everybody up $25 a person for a seaplane flight. So if you didn't get to fly with us for the year, it gives you a chance to get in on that. So to talk about community and stakeholder partnerships, this is a big part of it. The stakeholders on the Elizabeth River, when we were putting in our seaplane base right there in downtown Norfolk, Portsmouth, was massive. We went and had meetings with the Navy was present, the Virginia Pilot Association, the Coast Guard, everybody was interested in that. Similar situation when we came here, we coordinated with the U.S. Navy and Department of Defense. A lot of helicopters come up and down the eastern shore. I'm a helicopter pilot myself as well. So we chat with them on the radio, we share the airspace. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Coast Guard, open dialogue and outreach with shared waterway use. So our sea lane is technically not in the federal channel. It's outside of it, although we do for non-revenue flights use the federal channel for takeoffs and landings. And we are going to be seeking authorization to establish a sea lane in the federal channel here, like we've done in downtown Norfolk. That's our seaplane dock, as you can see. It's right there. You can also get a good look at right there, just next to the dock, that's, I guess a while ago, they sunk a bunch of concrete and rebar pilings in there. I don't know if it was trash. What I think is that it was an attempt to attenuate the wave action there at the boat ramp. But now it's just awful. But I've got a plan for that. But that's our little seaplane dock. We come in here and we've flown, gosh, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I want to say we've done over 80 flights into Cape Charles this year. That's a better look at kind of, where we are. When we come off the seaplane dock, we just follow right in with traffic coming in and out of there. It's really easy. It's a short walk to the shanty or the footpath to downtown. We've chatted with a couple of different golf cart companies to get some golf carts down there for our passengers. We have yet to achieve that, but I think we can make it happen. This is a good look of our sea lane. So the north-south sea lane is our federally registered sea lane, east-west. I use it a lot, especially when I'm coming out empty. You'll see us take off to the west and landing to the east on a nice calm day. That's where we're going to be going after federal authorization. There is a regulation that calls out authorization for commercial seaplane ops to have written permission from the district engineer. We did it on the York River, we did it on the Elizabeth River, and we'll be going after that next year. We've sort of got a leg up where we've already established seaplane operations in the area, so it won't be as long a drawn out process. It was about 9 months last time, but the Army Corps of Engineers is well aware of our operations in here, and Ms. Katie D'Amico has been great to work with. So as it stands, it's really just sort of adding east-west lane to what we already got. This is a video. This is the north-south. This kind of give you an idea of how we address boat traffic and how we kind of get in and fit in. So we just keep our distance from boats. When you're setting down on the water, you want to try to stay away from big boat wakes. So sometimes we do have to circle when it's a busy weekend in Cape Charles until we find a good spot or a good timing to land. But with that bird's eye view, we have that ability. And then from here, we just taxi into the harbor and dock on our little seaplane dock there.
How do you all navigate our watermen coming in and out of the harbor?
That's a great question. The watermen, they're such cowboys, and I grew up working cows in South Florida, so I feel kindred with them. They will keep it on step all the way to the no-wake buoy. And, what we do is, I have to look at the picture. Here's your 75 flights, 187 passengers, and over 100,000. The reason how we got this is I knew that this is going to work good. So what we did is we polled everybody on the bottom line. And I just sent a little, hey, can you tell us ballpark about how much you spent? And that's how we got that number. It was a little north of that, but, so was our brackets. So I said, well, let's just bring it down a little bit. From June to October, that's what we were able to do with one aircraft and one pilot. But this is actually good. So right there on the other side, where Air owns that little piece right there, and I guess the parking lot for the concrete plant. If the watermen are coming in, we just tuck into that little hole right there,
Gotcha.
or if they're coming out, and we try to stay out of the way as much as possible. Legally, we hold the same rights as a vessel, with the asterisk that we basically the Coast Guard wants us to just stay out of the way as much as possible. So we do.
Thank you.
Noise abatement, this is a big question we get all the time. Idle taxi from the dock, we really only pour the coals to it once we reach the no-wake zone buoy, and then every now and then when it's real big rolling in there, we have a loophole with the state of Virginia that no-wake zones do not apply to seaplanes. Just because seaplane development was a massive part of the Chesapeake Bay in the 50s and 60s. We try not to use that, but for places like on the Elizabeth River where it's 5 knot speed limit, we're getting off the water at 55 knots, but here, there's no need for that. Minimal time of the year, most of our action happens out over the water. If you see us kind of coming in over Cape Charles, it'll be at 1,000 feet or more. So we try not to do any buzzing, any houses or anything like that. And then peak sound emission is similar to a lawnmower, it's been better enough for traffic. And we actually did a chart for you on this next screen.
That's it.
That's all she did.
That's all she wrote.
Well, there was more. I don't know. So yeah, the peak sound. There it is, right there.
I don't know if it's not turning that. There
There it is.
Oh,
Yeah, 83 decibels from it starts at about 60, which is your resting sound on a weekend here in Cape Charles, out there at the harbor, with the seagulls and the boats and stuff kind of going around and playing. And you can see where things kind of start to pick up, and when we really pour the coals to it, and it's about a 15-second operation, and everything just drops off.
can we have some water?
You want some drink, buddy? Yeah? All right, well, I'll hook you up.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Very kind.
I got it.
You do? Oh, thank you. So, that's us, and that's it in a nutshell. I just speak on behalf of my wife and I, and Brooke, who, we're just thankful for the opportunity, and it's been an incredible year. As a company, we've flown over 300 flights and moved over 500 people with one airplane. I work my butt off doing it, keeping it in the air, and Brooke flies me on a lot of empty flights, and we've built some incredible relationships. Next year, we just want to continue that on. I do have a plan, like I mentioned. I think I'm probably going to go over my 10 minutes here, but real quick, we're searching to get a grant from the Virginia Tourism Board to address the riprap, so that financial burden doesn't fall on the town of Cape Charles. We would be a proponent, and we would be the administrator of that grant. So, love to work with you guys on that, and that would allow us to expand the seaplane dock a little bit without having to change too far.
You also looked into Corps of Engineers, they also have grants, I think, for that kind of stuff.
But yeah, I've talked to Ms. Katie about that. I think with what we've been able to achieve with this year, and I'll take all the questions you got, we're looking pretty good on being able to get that done. I think it's going to be somewhere north of 50,000
Yeah.
to get that done. But we've got a great contractor that works in the harbor all the time. Was here last year, and I think they've got the means to do it.
So just a little information, the tourism grant is all for marketing.
Right.
So it won't be the riffraff, that they would never pay for that piece of it. But the infrastructure grant through the county would.
It would. Okay. Yeah.
They're totally different, but you would need the tourism grant you could do as well for marketing your business. And
See,
adding that
you already-
aspect.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know more about it than I do for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm working hard to learn more about it,
Yeah.
so I'd love to chat with you about it.
So I just
She's on
need
the
your,
board.
yeah,
Okay,
I
all
need
right.
your card, and I'll send you some information and some contacts for you.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Get you in the
You
right direction.
demonstrated here, and I could visualize the landing at Cape Charles, and you can foot your way over to Mason and what have you without a golf cart. But what about the other locations? Are they as convenient to get a person, a passenger into the
In
locale?
town, so
Yeah,
to speak, well, yes and no. So, for example, the Elizabeth River Seaplane Base is called Coastal Seaplanes Downtown. We dock at Tidewater Yacht Marina on the Portsmouth side. So you can go into downtown on foot from there pretty easily. You can catch an Uber. It's pretty much, if you were just coming and did not have a car there,
all right.
it's pretty easy to get around. It's about 100 yards from there to the ferry dock. You get on the ferry dock and you're right there at Waterside downtown, Norfolk. Places like Wynn's Island, where we've got a seaplane base, and the Tides Inn. The Tides Inn, you get off right there at the dock at the Tides Inn, and you can go anywhere. Wynn's Island, we run a boat transfer service. St. Michael's, we run a boat transfer service. So we have relationships that we built. These guys come in, they're kids really, with these 16-foot Carolina skiffs.
Mhm.
We snug them up close on the float. We put people in bags in, they go to the dock.
Okay.
And that's how we sort of get in quickly in a place without having to worry about seaplane dock infrastructure. Maryland's a tough state. We're not very seaplane friendly, although they like to say they are. Virginia's better. But those are two examples. If you're getting off of our dock at Chisholm Creek over at Legacy Marine, you're going to have to get wheels. So you have to get a Uber
Yeah.
or drive or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's one thing that we're working hard to do. I thought about putting bikes down here. I thought about doing all kinds of different stuff. Everything we do mimics Kenmore air up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Seattle. So we're trying to make this a stable, a part of the fabric of the community, versus, you know, something that really grinds people's gears. We've been able to turn a lot of hearts.
Okay, thank you.
You're not limited to water takeoffs with that plane either, are you? Can't you land on a tarmac?
Yes, we run amphibious aircraft. That's a great point. So we land in Washington, DC, Leesburg,
Okay,
Dulles,
that's what I thought.
all the time. I've flown 8 or 9 flights out of DC into Cape Charles this year. That one of the gentlemen that purchased property here came out of DC. The other one was out of Richmond.
That's great.
Anybody else?
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
It's exciting.
bringing this to us,
Mhm.
yeah, and for your partner.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Get him something to eat when we
Yeah,
get back in that
we're
traffic.
gonna to the restaurant. but,
That's right.
Thank y'all for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dad, can we go?
All right.
Me too.
So, all right, consent agenda, can I get approval of the agenda format?
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda in its total, the format, meeting minutes, and financial report.
Second.
I have a question about the minutes in particular. The minutes have the presentation on the demolition by neglect, but we never went through that presentation. And I just don't want it to be put into the minutes and us never get that presentation from Katie. I think you were sick, Katie.
I included the language because Rick mentioned that Katie was sick and that it was included in the packet and that everybody had a chance to review it, and if there were any questions to send them in for, to get the answers. That's why I included it in there, because it was mentioned and it was in the original packet.
So we're not gonna have the presentation then?
No, it doesn't say we can't have it.
Yeah.
It was
Maybe we
just
should
part
just
of the
add
meeting.
that into it. just
Add
to-
that into these minutes, that we need to put that presentation back on the agenda?
You can add it to the agenda during this.
Yeah, we're prepared to do it
Yeah.
today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then I move we add it to today's agenda.
Yeah.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion, can I get a vote for
The original.
the original consent agenda? We already had a motion.
It's already moved.
And seconded, we
Yes.
just need to vote.
Yeah, yeah.
Just need a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
You have the project tractor worksheets for them.
That you want to add to the agenda?
Well, just a notification that we have gotten a handout as requested the last time around for tracking our restroom trailer costs and our interim town hall cost relative to moving. That's all in the lease. So that's all spelled out in a separate report that we'll continue to get each regular meeting.
All right. So, okay, unfinished business, the beach master plan informational.
That's just for information.
All right. All right, new business, short-term rental statistics. That's you, Katie.
I can't,
Okay.
I can't figure it out.
Because you're not in, you gotta bring it up and annotate. All right, so,
It's only been 6.5 years. I'm like, where's Andy? Where's Andy? Sorry. I can do it fine at home. It's when I get up here.
This is why we had to ask you to leave, Tammy.
Actually, with the new agenda, you just click on the link.
I know,
that's in
I
there.
couldn't get back to that.
Oh, I got
It's the
you.
getting back part that I have trouble. Thank you. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so we don't have many years of data on STRs, but yes, when I came in early on in 2023, I started tracking it. So we do have at least now 3 years worth of data for you. It is broken out between what we call the historic district. That is not just historic, it's anything that may be licensed in the harbor, in the CR, C1, C2, C3. We classify that all as just historic district, just so you know, for accounting purposes, versus Bay Creek. So for this year, we are licensed at 308 properties. We are continuing to still refine. I think we may catch one or two more along the process before the end of this year, but we're pretty comfortable. We're settling in about 308 to 310 of licensed businesses operating in the town for STRs. We did break it down further for you, again showing what was happening in Bay Creek versus the historic district over that 3-year time frame. So again, I think what was interesting for us is the Bay Creek numbers actually went down a little bit, which we were surprised by, but that is bearing out to be the truth here at this point. And the historic district came in around 218 for the year. Last year was at 222.
Did you hear from people that, of the why, or is this, I mean, did anybody affirmatively say, no, we're not gonna STR because, or anything like that?
I won't say because of, but we would reach out to anybody who was on the list last year if they hadn't come forward. A lot of it property sold, they chose to not do it this year for a variety of reasons.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
that's gonna happen every year.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, we did give you the breakdown within this year's data, how it does break out where there is a harbor. There is one that is over in the harbor that has not gotten licensed, so we are working still with that one to get them in compliance. And then with the residential 3 district, which is as you head out of town, the old way on Old Cape Charles Road, one of those units in the apartments is an STR. So. We did give you further breakdown of that within the historic district, because this seemed to be a lot of our discussion, and I felt it might be important to start tracking it this way.
It's very good.
And so we have given you a by street, and then further, I broke it out by block, all the way through, just to give us a sense of where the STRs are in the community overall as a pattern.
Really helpful information,
Definitely.
really helpful.
And then similar in Bay Creek, this was a request that I've received from the Bay Creek folks from their HOA. So we tracked it similarly. We've given them between north and south of the Bay Creek properties. Again, by subdivision for them, north and south. And then within that, I've given them a full listing by street as well. So they have a good idea of where all of their SDRs are populated throughout their property. So that gives you the stats. Not much to really change from us in the prior years and how we have constructed our policies at this point in time. I did want to, again, remind you that you've given a 1-year grace period in your adoption of your STR ordinance, so we don't have anything to report on enforcement, because there's been no enforcement, as you know. All that we had required this year is them to get licensed, to get the safety inspection. Bay Creek was the new element of getting the safety inspection this year. They got added as part of our town code this year. And education has been our biggest factor going out and ensuring everybody knows what the bedroom requirement means to an occupancy determination, what furniture or limitations might be imposed when we finally do impose these regs full-time in 2026. So that has been the focus from the staff in working with every property owner. Jeb went into every building, measured every bedroom, every window in every bedroom, every door in every bedroom. And he gave comments on furniture placement this year, said it could stay, but they would have to change potentially in some of these units to comply with our ordinance for next year as it relates to occupancy, to the bedroom definition. So we have spent a great deal of time of education more than anything this past year. I don't want you to think everybody's happy, because there's been no vehicle for them to petition for relief from your ordinances, because we haven't applied them yet. So I think next year you'll probably have more activity and a feel from the community at large what they think of the zoning ordinance you adopted. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, Katie.
Yes.
I'm curious about the furniture piece, because our ordinance doesn't say anything about furniture.
Beds.
So I'll throw some things that had to change automatically. People were putting dressers blocking windows. had to change, had to move that kind of
That's a
stuff.
safety,
That's
de-
safety, that's part of this issue
Code
of
enforcement.
egress.
Yeah.
yes, that I understand.
Part of it is they had too many beds in a room designated as a bedroom, and the square footage did not allow that number of beds to be in that space. Because again, you're supposed to have 70 square feet for the first occupant, or it moves to 100 if there are 2 occupants. And therefore, it increases by 50 square foot increase every time you have another occupant in that bedroom. So if you may have 4 sets of bunk beds, but you don't have the equivalent square footage, 50 times, what was that, 8, 50 times 8 is 400 square feet. If you didn't have 400 square feet in that bedroom, plus met all the other egress requirements and its location with not traveling through another bedroom or to the bathroom, that's not allowed under our ordinance any longer. And so that would have to alter where they would place those bunk beds, for example. They may be able to keep 2 sets, but not 4 sets.
I
Or 2
understand a
twin
logic.
beds, not 4 twin beds. So we did a lot of education on that issue this coming year.
I would say we should probably have our attorney review that. I don't see an ordinance that says anything about how many beds. It says occupancy, and we created an ordinance that Jeb would go in and say, okay, in this room you can have this many occupants, but we didn't say you can have X number of pieces of furniture or
We didn't
beds.
say X number of pieces of furniture, it's,
Beds.
if you're going to sleep, what are you sleeping in?
I am not an attorney, so.
It is
I-
defined in our ordinance as a bedroom, which includes a bed.
Correct, but it
Our,
doesn't.
our attorney has reviewed this
Yeah,
ordinance.
I don't-
our attorney has looked at it.
So when somebody is told, only because it's been brought up, so when we get to a phase when we're now starting to, sort of hold people's feet to the fire, and they're being told they've gotta remove pieces of furniture, it doesn't say that in our ordinance.
It gives you a capacity based on your square footage.
Correct, but that tells you, okay, Jeff can come in and say 7 people in this home based on square footage.
Correct. But
Right?
that's not, we're talking about per room, not the whole overall dwelling. We're talking about a one
And
room.
The number of qualified bedrooms
Correct.
to equate to occupancy.
I am concerned that asking people to remove furniture is gonna open up a can of worms.
Yeah.
And I'm just,
That's fine, let it
yes,
open. I'm
Well,
fine
the
with
part-
it.
will.
I think the clear part is if furniture is blocking an egress.
Absolutely,
Is-
absolutely.
And so that
yes.
part's very clear.
Yes, and I'm not even bringing it up from a
Yeah.
safety perspective. I'm talking
Yeah.
specifically about the way our ordinance is written, is we are supposed to be going in, measuring, saying how many you can have in this space for a short-term rental.
Correct.
But we're not saying how many beds a space
You
can have.
cannot certify beds to remain in to give the impression that they can sleep more people in that room than what is legally allowed to be there under your ordinance.
Except then what happens when the person uses it for their own,
They can bring those beds back and
Do whatever they
if
want.
they're using it for their own personal use, there's no rental going on, that's their choice to do that. But if it's going to be a week or weeks that they're going to be an STR, they must comply with our ordinance. Otherwise, it's a violation. We will investigate it as such under your ordinance. And they risk jeopardizing getting an STR permit for the subsequent year.
I understand that's how many people are in there, not how many beds they have. I am just,
Same principle.
it's not
Yeah, it
the same principle.
Yeah, it is.
People are gonna be very upset when we're walking in there and trying to tell
Well,
them how many
again, I'm not in
pieces of
charge of
furniture.
whether additional legal consultation is done. I would
We should be prepared for
have
that.
that conversation with the town manager.
I've got a question on the methodology for each of these years. Was it the same? Because you got smarter as you went along through time, as far as counting, you've got now software.
I don't have
So-
the software functional yet making these counts for me.
So whatever you did in '23 is the same you did in '25?
It's all being done right now in Excel spreadsheets still.
Okay. Will the software help next time around?
Yeah, I don't have to maintain this spreadsheet.
Also,
Well, you got the history here,
Yes.
but
It will be the subsequent information.
so,
it can break it down by block and
yeah.
what have you.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
it's still data in.
So, question, were these just based on licenses or truly active?
Say that again?
The number, were they truly active, or were
That's
these
a
just
good question.
licenses?
These were actually people who came and obtained a license from the town.
So we don't know if
for
they,
STR.
we don't know if they actually did it. That's all I'm getting at.
That's correct. We've had no veracity of checking their rental capacity. Did they rent?
Yeah.
How many weeks did they do it?
The only way you're
But
gonna,
if they came and applied and went through the process, we presume they were going to.
hopefully with this new software, when we're collecting taxes,
Yeah, I was gonna say
hopefully,
B-poll
we'll
should
be able to figure out either through
I'm ready
B-poll.
to talk to you about the software when you're ready.
All right, so, yeah, when we get to that, either
Right.
via B-poll, we know they were renting it based on that, just number
Because then that'll
wise.
give us a new number that
Correct,
they may be registered, because we had a lot that registered.
Well, I'm
yeah.
not gonna say it's gonna give you a new number. If they register, then we're counting them as doing.
I realize
STR.
that, Katie, and what I'm saying is that when we then add the B-poll column in it, we can very clearly
This is the
see.
B-poll column. That's
Well-
what I'm not understanding. The STR license is your B-poll
Okay.
column today.
Well, that's
With
for the,
dollars that were collected
you're
in the
talking
B-poll
pot
column.
tax
Not just
comparison with.
registered,
Yes.
but actually
Yeah.
collected money.
Tax
Yes,
versus
yes.
license.
And this is in your current revenue stream in your general ledger today.
Okay, so you answered differently. You said that you don't know if all of these actually operated,
The
so,
B-poll, well, let me make sure you understand the calculation of B-poll. The business professional occupational license or B-poll license or business license
It's based on-
is based upon what you tell us is going to be your estimated revenue for the
right,
year
I know.
times
Okay. Hey, I know it well.
Yeah,
0.36.
Yes,
so, in other words, they
And we
were.
collect that today,
Yes.
already,
Yeah.
that's in, so if I got 188 or I got 218 that came in through the historic district, we have that B-poll money as well.
okay, so that's different than what you answered for Paul. So all 218 were operational,
They
because
got
we
a
have money.
business, they got a business license. Operational meaning, did they have any rentals in there during July, the second week in July?
Yes.
That's a different question.
Well, I'm not asking, and nobody's asking what specific week, but someone can have a business license
And
and not collect
Anything.
revenue. And that's what I'm saying, is that where will we see that? Because
Okay.
that's what's gonna be important for us.
So again, I've never reported on the TOT
I know
money to
that.
you guys at all in this process.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're
And
talking
there's
about
a
moving
variety of
forward.
reasons why that has never happened, at this point in time. I think we're prepared to talk a little bit more about that. Whether it is great news or not news, it's news. So with that said, in today, we have really no tracking mechanism that's ever been put in place within the town operations to how the transient occupancy is being examined, looked at, calculated, and counted. It is all paper-based system today, and right now it is, hopefully you submit your paperwork. That's where it is, and it hasn't gone much further than that.
All right, and one other question, is there, go to you, Marion. Has any of the agencies being able to split it out so you know where it's applied to? They still haven't done it yet?
They do split it out.
Hi, come over here and stand at the camera.
Yes, hi. We do see reports from Vrbo and Airbnb, but the accuracy is,
Terrible.
I can't comment whether it's good, bad, or what.
So when you say, because I spoke,
It's awful.
Well, that's the point I'm
I-
getting at, because
yeah.
I was figuring if we can get it to communicate with what you're doing, that
Okay,
way we
we're
kind of
gonna-
know
It's gonna be
what's going
different
on.
this coming year
You know what
in
I
the
mean?
software, so I'll
Yeah.
talk to you about that.
so I spoke with Airbnb at VML this past week.
Oh, good.
Yes. And so what you're saying is new to me, because I thought we were still getting the lump sum. We're not?
We are.
Okay, that's what I said.
Yes.
Okay. They said that something had changed in the state of Virginia come July 1, that should change. And I didn't think that we knew anything of that, right?
That's just news to me, but
Okay.
it would be perhaps good news.
I have a
Yeah.
contact person for you that I collected,
The
that
state
is the
law,
finance person for that.
the state law for the last 3 years has been, they're supposed to give us a
Yes.
detailed breakdown
Right.
of their lump sum payments to us monthly.
Right,
That
and they're
never
not.
occurred.
Okay,
No.
so that's what I told them, is that might be fine that the ordinance has changed, but that's not what we're getting. And that's correct, right?
That is correct.
Okay,
That's what-
Can't wait to get it though.
yeah.
And I think that's in the legislature
Yeah.
for the let's go around to talk through it again.
Yeah, very good. It's just wanted, so everybody understands the struggles we have just collecting any of that data. It's kind of
So,
terrible. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I did talk a little bit about where we are with your software, and it is coming. It is in process of getting programmed, we're still testing things. We're having a little bumpy ride, I have to be honest, as we're trying to get every module up and running. We have, the GIS module is there. It is currently mapping and tracking what they are seeing as they scour websites across any platform. So our numbers are pretty consistent with what we are finding on your GIS search to what we have for our licensed process internally that we have done this year in the town.
Which helps that department, correct? Yes.
Which is a good thing. And again, that module, the GIS mapping module, will be publicly available on our website as part of this process. So again, anybody in the community would be able to take these numbers that I've given you here and see exactly where they are on a map of the town of Cape Charles in our corporate limits. So it is, the GIS is set up within our corporate limits. It's not going to pick up anything down by the Bridge Tunnel, which has the post office of Cape Charles.
I mean, not everybody in Cape Charles from
It's
Eastville
not within our
down?
corporate limits, okay? So the next module that so much time has been spent on is the registration module, which is, again, that is the heart of this, of what we're doing here, both new accounts and registering of renewals as well. And so it's a twofold issue that we've been doing is, yes, setting up all the criteria, the questions you got to answer as you register a new account, all the way down to calculate the B-poll tax that is owed, the business license tax that is owed to register as a new STR. One of the things that we've done is we've populated all of the existing accounts in because we wanted to make this less painful to our property owners who are doing STRs to know that all the paperwork they've been giving us this past year has been worth something. Because I've had lots of complaints about my paperwork. We needed that to actually build the back end and actually get all the fields populated for existing accounts. So for those existing accounts that are coming in for renewal, they'll just have to confirm that we got all the data in correctly for them. Do they still have the same manager managing their property? Are they still the current owners for this property? It will be their chance to say, you got the number of occupants of our maximum occupant or booster rate, if you recall, wrong. And then we'll have that conversation, how we came to it, why they think it's wrong, and what we're gonna do to reconcile that. The next module that we're still working on is the inspection module, which is Jeb's piece. And again, we want to be able to put him into the field with a tough book, or with a computer to be able to just do the inspection, check, find out yes or no you passed these things, or no you didn't, here's what you got to fix to get to a passed position. That will then generate an automatic report out to the property owner, and will tie back in automatically, all computer talking all the way through this process.
How about that?
And then the last piece that comes in here, of the 5 modules we have, this is the 4th one, which will then get us to final zoning review. So it's gotten its business license, it's passed the safety inspection, but no certificate has actually been issued called a zoning permit. That's my job, last piece, in making sure it's in compliance with everything else in our ordinance. In terms of trash cans that are required under our ordinance, and any other elements that we've got in our ordinance. And once that happens, a zoning permit will be issued, and it will be all inclusive of the business license, the safety inspection, and the zoning approval with that. Then the final module, which I saw early on, that got finished early on, was the compliance and violations module. So it includes a 24/7 hotline piece. It'll be up on our website, where people again will be able to figure out, I got a complaint with my neighbor. Are they an STR? They're gonna find out yes, they're an STR. They'll be able to contact them directly, or if they have a manager, there's gonna be that contact information when they link on that address. And they'll be able to either contact them directly, or they can file a complaint with the town, or they can use the 24/7 hotline. If it happens to be a complaint coming in at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, they could use the hotline that will be staffed by our vendor, who then in turn will have a script to follow, and will also be notifying the town officials of that, which we'll see come Monday morning when we report to work to do our job then. So I think that does all 5 pieces. So I would like to say we have it up and running today. I'm not quite there yet. we're gonna probably go right to that beginning in November before we are ready to launch the software. We have received approval from 5, I think, no, now 6, I heard 6 today. We reached out to some of our core customers who have multiple properties, some who may be more particular in their comments to us, so we have grabbed those people to be on this, not just our champions, but sometimes our detractors. So we're gonna have a core group of right now 6, I think we're trying to get a 7th one in to be our guinea pigs before we fully launch it. So they're gonna run it all the way through to make sure how it looks and setups, etc. So we are close, that's all I can tell you, we're really close. And with that, they'll also be testing, you will remit your transient occupancy reporting and payments online as well. It's moving to a quarterly process, we're moving away
Could you,
from the.
yeah, repeat that, what I was reading at the same time, but that's important.
The last module that is part of this is the transient occupancy reporting module.
Yeah.
So yes, you will be moving all of that online to file your reports that way. We're not gonna accept paper copies anymore. You must report it online.
Right.
And it's just a couple fields you fill out, it calculates it for you automatically. If you owe money, then you pay it there as well.
Awesome.
If you were telling us that VRBO or Airbnb is your transmitting agent, then we're gonna require you to submit some documentation from them to see what they transmitted to us, to try and match what we are getting from those third-party vendor processes, so. We got a lot coming in this software.
A little bit of a left curve here, and I don't expect you to have to answer, but
Left
there
or
are
right?
4 properties that are not STRs but pay transient occupancy. So the 2 B&Bs and the 2 hotels. So will we be able
did not
to?
design this module
I know that.
software at all to handle the hotel.
But is there a way
hotels.
that we will be able to pay electronically? That's all I'm asking, really. None of the all the other things, but
No,
Not on this software.
not through this software, not at this point in time. We are aware, Mary and I have had some brief conversations about this, that we need to upgrade the business license module for everything else,
Yeah.
which includes the hotels, motels, restaurants, contractors, plumbers, who all want to do this same kind of process.
Right.
That is the next round of software we'll be looking to fix.
yeah, and I mean, it's not hard for those that have to do it monthly. I mean, yearly, but we have to do it monthly. And it's, it's antiquated beyond words.
It's just like an
I mean,
attorney.
it's not even electronically fillable form.
I understand.
You know, I mean,
So it's not like the sales tax, it's not like the sales tax area?
no, not at all.
I'm not saying, Tammy, this can't be something, we had that conversation with Decker Technologies, once we get this
Yes.
this whole thing up and running and we go
Yeah,
live.
sure. That's why I
that we
say it's a.
Could we add this tweak to it?
Yeah,
I know it's not designed today for that. We focus just on ensuring we got the STRs going first.
I understand.
Yes. We did want to give you the update as well, since you put out the offer, that if people had provided the paperwork, the zoning STR application permit to us by June 30 of 2025, you would provide them a 50% reduction when they have to pay the fee for the first time here in 2026. And if you recall, you set that fee at $450. We had, I actually did not write it down. 15, thank you, Mary. Oh, I did write it down, it is in your report, sorry. 15 property
that's it.
owners out of the 308 availed themselves of that opportunity. We just wanted to make you aware of that, and so that they will receive a credit when they go to actually establish their 2026 license. Okay? I think that's everything at the point. He will actually come to meet you for the first time, Casey Quilter, who is our new inspector for STRs. We didn't bring him tonight, just because we're gonna bring him when we're ready to razzle dazzle you with the rollout of the software.
The song and dance.
And we view it as new red meat.
Casey has jumped right in, and he's been a fantastic addition to our staff.
Good.
He's been able to fully bring in all of his years of experience into jumping right in, understanding the ordinances, writing things already, doing inspections. yes, he's been a great help helping us pack our offices, I'm not gonna lie. That's been a great help too, but, he has jumped right in. And
Good,
we're so
good.
glad to have him, so you will meet him, probably at the December meeting.
Question,
Yes.
short-term rentals we got covered. Is there, have we tried to track any long-term rentals at all? Now, if you remember correctly, when we set this ADUs up back in the day, you guys not be aware of this, but we required them to hook up a second water.
They
So
were never required to do it.
I thought we
It was
did
an
that.
option.
No,
It was an option.
I thought it was, if they went to short, long-term rentals, they had to do it.
no.
No. We did talk about it.
Because at that time, your connection fees are so high, it moved away during that
was
discussion
going-
when you were adopting this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Started
so-
to make it just an option for you.
Have we, have any idea how many long-terms, anybody disclose long-term rentals in the
I
ADUs?
think I addressed that
It's in the pack.
in our email
I didn't-
on permitting of accessory dwelling units.
Yeah, I didn't
So,
see that.
I know we have a few, an
Skimmed
agenda
through
item
it.
before I jump to that.
All right,
Before we move on from STRs, I just want to make one quick point,
Sure.
that as we look at these total numbers of STR licenses now and going forward, that we do so in the context that our housing stock is not flat. That, you know, we've added, I think last
Yeah.
conversation I had with Jeb, over 56 new builds last year, and that doesn't include rehabs in the historic district, it does include infill, new construction, but
No,
Yeah.
no, that does include infill.
I said it does
Yes.
include that.
Okay.
I mean, both Bay Creek, which is where the majority of it obviously is, but as well as in town. And then what doesn't always get flagged as a new build is, you know, taking a house that's been uninhabited and making it into, you know, a new
Functioning.
functioning residence. But just, my point was just that we need to remember that there's two numbers to compare there, basically.
So as a percentage, we're coming down from
Yeah.
STRs.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point, Clayton.
told you so.
What's that?
I said, I told you so, I was gonna take care
Well,
of it.
I can look at it differently too.
Okay.
I can look at the fact that I've got a full-time resident moving in and I'm not reducing the number of cars or, you know, the things that
Yeah.
we
Right.
talked about, STRs. So yes, percentage goes down, great. But that doesn't mean
Doesn't
that
change
we're
the-
alleviating any of the
Exactly.
issues that have been brought to the table.
Exactly.
This is great info.
So your next
Yes,
agenda-
thank you
Yes,
very
thank
much.
you.
It's
So-
great.
Really,
We're all
really
done
great
with that,
info. I
so-
really like the breakdown by street and block. It was super helpful. I mean, some of it was anecdotal, we knew, but to really see, for example, Monroe.
Yeah, you see where the high
you know,
densities
where-
are.
Yeah, and that's the argument that
That's
I've
the-
always made.
the
If you look at
density.
my block
Yeah,
and the 600 and the 400 together,
yeah.
majority is short-term rentals.
Yep.
But, okay, appreciate this stats.
All right,
That's-
so we're gonna go on to B, so we're all done. Anybody else have any other questions? So B is appointment of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I know Libby wrote this memo, I don't mind taking it over if you don't mind. Dolores Blackburn, who's been on the board and was serving actually as the chairman, she let us know that she was moving out of town, so she has resigned. So you did have the foresight 2 years ago to do an alternate appointment to the BZA, Brian Murray, and he has continued to stay engaged and comes to the meetings as well, just to keep informed. So I know he is interested and willing to serve as a permanent member of the BZA if you wish to accelerate into that position or not. So,
Mr. Vice Mayor, I'd make a motion that we appoint Brian Murphy to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I
Sure.
second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome, Brian.
Who's the new, chair?
we don't know yet because
Oh,
they
okay.
are waiting to get to a full complement again before
Gotcha.
we have election of officers.
Gotcha.
All right, next agenda item is permitting accessory dwelling units for short-term rentals.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
So again, for the public at large, earlier this year and over the summer, you received a proposed zoning text amendment request from the Cape Charles Historic Civic League for the possibility of continuing discussion on whether limiting the use of ADUs by property owners to long-term rentals only has had an impact on the diversity of housing options for long-term rental and workforce housing. And they were also seeking to have that removed as a restriction and open up and request to open up ADUs to be used for short-term rentals. So this, you refer this over to the planning commission, so they took this up in a work session on September 22nd, and then further refined it and finalized their recommendation to you at their meeting on October 7th. We reviewed a history of stuff relative to the accessory dwelling units in the town and how it came into being in the zoning ordinance. We did provide an accompanying spreadsheet listing all the accessory structures in the historic district that we were aware of or visible from the street. And this list came from a running spreadsheet, I think as early as 2014, all the way through. So I can't say it's been consistently maintained during that time frame. We did send the staff back out to do a street-by-street review. Again, as I noted, when we are doing this, we do not have the right just to go into people's property or into their backyard. So if we can't visibly see it from a street or an alley, then we're basically guessing as best we can from aerial photos. The aerial photos at the town level, the county level, are right now 4 years behind. So when you look at the county GIS system, the last time it was flown was 4 years ago. They should have that version the next version coming out soon. I just don't have that release date yet from the state, first thing. And when we try and view this from Google Maps, some streets are more updated than other streets. So some may have been updated and driven last year, others may be 3 years old. So again, the Google Maps, it's a hit and miss. You gotta look at the date when you're looking at a particular property. So with that said, I'm happy to talk to you a little bit about the spreadsheet if you want to go there first, or do we want to talk about where the planning commission came into their recommendation at this point in time? Hearing none, I'll follow the order of my memo. Go ahead.
You have 18 accessory dwellings, but do we know how many, we don't know how many are long-term, do we?
We do.
I didn't see it.
That is, so if you look at the spreadsheet, and I know it may be small on your screen, it's in this cell.
In this box.
There's a blue box on
Oh.
the far
That's why I didn't see it.
left, where we broke down the stats for you. So again, those far columns are the current use for ADUs. And so within that, we think there are 18 accessory dwelling units that are active in the district at this point in time. And this is just for the historic district alone, not Bay Creek in any way, shape, or form. Of those 18 accessory dwelling units, we did break it down. There's 12 on one side, 6 on another, so I'm gonna deal with 12 of the properties with accessory dwellings. We flag them this way because those 12, the primary residence is not being used as an STR. We felt that was important to highlight this in this process. Of those 12, where again, the primary dwelling is just a primary dwelling and nothing else, 3 of those accessory dwellings are being used as family overflow. 1 accessory dwelling, and these are direct conversations with the property owners. 1 accessory dwelling is used as workforce housing. 2 accessory dwellings are just empty. 4 accessory dwellings, the property owner, we were unable to contact them, so we're still unknown on those 4, what that is being used for. 1 of those units is being used for storage by the property owner. And 1 of the units is currently under construction, and that property owner is telling us they intend to use it for workforce housing when that construction is completed. 6 of those accessory dwelling units, out of that total of 18, those properties are affiliated with primary dwellings that are being used as STRs. So again, when we spoke with those property owners, 3 of those accessory dwellings are being used as family overflow when the house is being used by the property owner, the family itself. 1 of those accessory dwellings is currently used as a long-term rental, while the main house is being used as an STR. And 2 of them are still transitioning that ADU to workforce housing or a long-term rental. So they're in the process of making that conversion. During that process, we ended up having 1 more property get identified for us that was not on this list originally. So we have not, just due to time and everything going on in our office at the moment, we've not had a chance to contact that property owner to see how they're using that ADU, and that is specifically.
It's a long-term rental.
It is a long-term rental. Thank
That's
you.
my neighbor, it's my backyard.
So now we're at 19.
Yeah. And it's been one for a long time.
12 are primary resident, non-STR, and 7 are STR with essentially 4 of those as long-term, it sounds like. Okay.
Well, and a couple unknowns.
Unknown.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's correct. So we're circling. So I'm not saying your policy as it was crafted for the ADUs didn't achieve some result. It did. It put some units of rental housing on the market and are being used in that fashion. It does sound like there may be a few more moving in that direction as they get completed, or as the property owner decides to change the use of what that ADU was being used for previously. So at least we have the stats at this point. If you, in reviewing this list, are aware of other properties that should have been included with an ADU, please let us know, and we will add it, we will do our investigation, we'll reach out to the property owner and see if we can get further information to confirm it, okay? So with that, stats in our back pocket, the planning commission then moved forward, feeling that some of the considerations and requests were valid, that maybe this is not as successful as may have been envisioned. And so from that premise, along with some other comments that came out during the planning commission meeting, they have moved forward to figure out, was there a path forward to have ADUs be also accessible for STR use as well? And so we have walked through that process for you. I think one of the comments in particular that seemed to strike home with the planning commission is the town cannot solve all of the workforce housing needs or issues of this community or the greater community of the county itself. So that was of some concern, and that was expressed, and felt that maybe the residents of Cape Charles should not be the ones having to bear that burden fully on their shoulders. And so therefore, what we have given, the town has given as opportunity for economic, as a business opportunity in the residential district, that it should be equitably shared amongst all those property owners. I will note, I feel an obligation to share with you, I think that the zoning ordinance change to allow ADUs into the district as a whole, or into the town as a whole, is one tool that this town has put in place. It's the first tool that needed to be put in place, was to have the structures there. And so I think you've done the zoning piece of it, but I'm not sure the town has actually devoted any further energy or resources or exhaustive implementation measures that could be available to you to make it more attractive, to have more of those accessory dwelling units be used for long-term rentals, such as through a tax incentive policy that you could put in place.
All right, so with that in mind, I think we hold that as a page check there, and we come back and talk about that. You know, not that we're gonna solve it tonight, but I think we want, some of us want to continue that particular discussion. It's really immaterial to what we're discussing though tonight.
I won't say it's immaterial, I think it could be a component of your conversation. So I did want to bring it forward. I did raise it to the planning commission. Again, they felt that was not within their purview, and so they were focused more on, okay, if this is something we should be considering, and they did not necessarily view it as a contrary policy for the town as a whole from a development perspective. They said, how would we have to go about doing this? So with that said, we highlighted all the areas that would have to change first. The first one being is in your comprehensive plan, because right now your comprehensive plan would not support ADUs being used as SDR. So that's why I've highlighted this in a certain way, or put it in here in a certain way. So if you as a council want to advance this forward, you would have to go forward with a comprehensive plan text amendment change first. And we have given you proposed language to make that happen. We'd have to do a deletion of a sentence on page 41 with the housing accessory dwelling unit section, and we would have to add language. We proposed adding language to page 127, which is in the future land use mixed use categories, or sorry, land use categories, specifically in the mixed use designation category, adding a new clause there, which allows some statement on housing as a whole.
All right, so my question here, I'm not opposed to any of this stuff. I'm fine with page 41 and what it's deleting there. On, the question I had is item number 3 there, page 127. This really doesn't have anything to do with accessory dwelling units, and I'm asking, why is this being proposed?
Because otherwise, you actually had no real language talking about housing options.
Okay, but that's irrelevant.
I think it's relevant that you need to have some language in your comprehensive plan saying you feel housing is a policy component that you will be addressing in a 5-year.
Okay, I'm not
20-year
disagreeing
range
with
of
what you're
plans.
saying in the paragraph, and I'm willing to leave it. I'm just not tying it to ADUs, which is the discussion we have right now.
Agreed, 100%. That's,
Then your comprehensive plan really is silent on housing options.
That could be a separate discussion, and we can include it tonight, but I just want to call it out that it's, in my mind, not tied to ADUs.
It's just one place.
Do we want to
where
keep
it's-
it? Again, I'm fine with the language, but I don't know why this all of a sudden popped in.
agreed.
And did that come through the planning commission?
We felt, again, if you're gonna take out the only area where we talk about accessory dwelling units and housing and strike the sentence here, you really leave a void in your comprehensive plan. If somebody comes looking, is what is the town looking for housing options? There was really no clear language that would give anybody a sense of what your policy thoughts were.
Okay, but
or
when I,
range of implementation of how you might.
okay,
solve
but
it
I'm
inside.
sticking this under mixed use, which is R2 and R3, when we're looking for this to be applicable to R1 as well, right? So why all of a sudden tie it to mixed use and not use the same language in a broader fashion?
And if you want to expand and add similar language in other areas of your comprehensive plan, then we should discuss that further. I would suggest a work session, instead of you guys voting on something tonight to send a public hearing. But I think that's what needs to happen, is, because I don't really have a sense where the council wants to be on this policy issue.
Well, in a twofold scenario with the subject we just talked about, the latter subject, about some sort of incentive, we can probably kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I'm sure a few more will pop up too.
Right.
So I think we might want to,
Well,
you know what I mean?
again, I have no problems of leaving this in. I just want to understand how it got here. And if it should be expanded, then fine, send that to the planning commission as shown here, with the understanding that there may be other districts that could use the same language.
I
The
just
planning
don't,
commission crafted this language for your consideration, so they've seen this once, and they're
Okay.
sending it to you.
And I'm going to
It's
send
up
it
to
back
you
to them
to
with
say.
the expansion of, is it just in the mixed use? And if so, defend why just mixed use and not elsewhere. We've opened
Well,
up in the ordinances.
I'm gonna backtrack a
Go
minute
ahead.
for you, Paul, because right now, they had a very narrow scope of request to study, which is you sent them a request from Civic League to open up ADUs for STRs.
ADUs,
yes,
okay.
we're talking about our housing comprehensive plan. This seems like out of left field. And yes, it is related, but it doesn't sound like anything that we tasked them with coming back to us
You're
with.
correct, but we,
Okay,
and
so,
I think where it came from in our conversation is when you take out that one section on page 41, then when you look through the rest of the comprehensive plan, you were silent on what you want or need in housing issues.
yes, and that is absolutely true.
And
But
that's a bad
not
place,
really-
especially when you have a RFP out on the floor today in this public community, saying you want to create workforce housing on town property, where we actually don't really have the language in our comprehensive plan to support that.
Well, we
And all
do.
of what you're saying, I'm sorry, is totally valid and relevant, but it shouldn't be going hand in hand with a conversation about ADUs. They're just not together. That's why it seems like it's coming out of left field, like an add-on, as opposed to it, hold on one second.
Go ahead, I
As
hear you.
opposed to it being something that has merit and weight and validity that we should be spending a lot more time on than just having it stick in here under some conversation about ADUs. To me, that just doesn't seem appropriate. It needs to be a longer conversation, dissociated from the conversation that we asked the planning commission to review and come back to us with recommendations specifically about ADUs, not to have us go back and look at our entire comprehensive plan about what we think it should say about housing. That's, again, this has merit and validity, so much so that it shouldn't be tied to the ADU conversation. That was my thought.
Well, the other aspect I'd add to is the R2 and R3 already call out what is permitted.
There's zoning. This is land use designation under comprehensive plan.
All right, but if I go to R2 and R3, it's mixed-use residential.
Yes,
And
and
it
that's a zoning
calls-
designation.
It calls out what I'm looking for as far as permitted and conditional uses, and it has a variety of houses, housing
That's zoning
types.
ordinance.
That's correct.
That's zoning. Policy would be incomplete. Comprehensive plan policy would be incomplete on housing. And I understand what you're saying, and you can separate the two, and you could go ahead and ask us to advance out to public hearing, what you're seeking just on ADUs. I'm just telling you, as your professional here, then you're going to have a void or vacuum in your policy document. As it
Simply
relates to
because
housing
we
in
took
general.
out the line that says that you can't rent ADUs for less than 30 days, that somehow taking that sentence out dramatically changes our entire comprehensive plan? I don't think so. I think you're correct. We missed the boat and don't have policy regarding what we want out of housing in our comprehensive plan, at least from what I could see. But this isn't, to me, this isn't the time and place to just ad hoc insert something. We should have a lengthier discussion about it.
And I don't disagree having a lengthy discussion. I actually would hope you move this to a work session of the town council, because I don't
Sure.
think there has actually been a full work session of the town council to discuss if you agree with the ADU issue being opened up for STRs. You received a request from an outside civic organization of this community, and it was passed on to the planning commission with no direction nor sense of what the town council was supportive of.
All right,
But we
so,
shouldn't be
so,
directing the town, we should be tossing it to the planning commission and saying, come back to us with feedback, not, hey, we want you to come up with a plan that looks like this.
all right, I think we have consensus to move this to a work session. I really
No,
do.
I don't. I don't. I think, I'd like to move ahead. No, I'd like to pull out this item 3 and have that perhaps as a work session. But I'm looking to move ahead with this ADU STR
Thank
issue.
you.
I'm talking
Thank
about
you.
this particular section,
Right.
pulling it out for a
We
work session.
we pulled
and
that
we'll probably
out,
find
and
more
then
stuff.
the work session is to discuss housing as a greater issue.
Yeah, and, you know, based on the comp plan for item 3, what would we be looking to move into our ordinance space, or what would we have to change in our ordinance space as a result of the green ad?
Exactly.
That I'd like to have it coupled, not just.
And do
We
you
talked
think we
about
should
that
have
with
it as a
people.
joint work session with the planning commission so that we can address it together?
I think that would be an excellent
Don't you
suggestion.
Yes,
Yes, I do.
because a lot of that discussion came up in BML.
So just like
So-
a joint work session, is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes,
For this
for the,
Green.
new item 3.
Land use.
That's it.
Yeah, future
Yeah.
land use.
Designation for the comprehensive plan, mixed use.
yeah.
But now we can continue on with the conversation regarding ADUs,
Right,
correct?
right.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay, I didn't want to table that then.
No, 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 no.
Okay, good.
I was just
So,
talking about that
and then,
section.
the planning commission then looked to your zoning ordinance, what change would be required under that, to open up ADUs to be used for short-term rentals. So again, there are 2 areas that would have to be amended, we believe. That is in section 4.1J2A, and again, it's the accessory dwelling section. So again, you can see what we are proposing, for all of that language change. So I'm not gonna read it,
Right,
it's just there
right,
for
right.
you to comment on at this point in time. So I'll stop on that one alone.
I have, okay.
On J, the section J?
Yes.
I have
I
no
have
questions
I
on
have
that
no
one.
question on that one.
Okay. And then the other area is we felt there should be a change added to the section 4.14 STRs B, new item 4. I will put up front that we did not specify the exact language of the planning commission. We knew something had to change in this. We just needed to sit down from a staff perspective to work on what that language finally should look like. So I did write this language to mirror what they had discussed at their meeting. And that specifically was a property with a legal accessory dwelling unit in accordance with section 4.1J may apply for only the primary dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit to receive an annual short-term rental zoning permit. There will be no allowance for both dwelling structures to be utilized as a short-term rental in the same calendar year. If the ADU is applying for an STR zoning permit, the requirements outlined in the STR ordinance must be met to establish the number of applicable bedrooms and occupancy for the STR. The ADU is prohibited from the +2 occupancy allowance contained in section 4.14C5. I added that last sentence, and I talked to them about this because there is already a square footage limitation to how large an ADU can be in relation to the primary dwelling. The maximum size that an ADU can be is 550 square feet, and within that 550, it has to contain a bedroom, a bathroom, and kitchen space.
I don't understand why we have to then put that in there. It seems superfluous. If the square footage is already designed to prohibit more people than we want to have in there, this is a superfluous. I don't want to have anything that would detract, particularly from families being able to come into an ADU that is an STR and bring 2 small children with them.
It's gonna be tough to do based on
It
the
might
square
be, and then
footage.
the regulation is already written in there,
The
and
square
Jeff's already
footage
going
already
through.
covers it.
Yeah, the square
Yes.
footage already covers it.
All right, but we gotta be careful, because the ordinance right now says 2 per bedroom plus 2.
Plus two.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
And
what I was trying to
it's
remember.
in our ordinance, so this is clarifying that on an ADU, which is 1 bedroom, even smaller, it's a studio in most cases.
So if it's an ADU that's 400 square feet, they can have how many people in that?
Well, it's a bedroom, it's the bedroom
It's a
size.
bedroom, but, so it's just 2 people?
At best, yeah.
So we're eliminating, we're eliminating families then from this scenario? I mean, that's a struggle for me.
or design.
And I'm wondering, you said, Katie, you inserted this in there. Again, I think it's superfluous if the square footage is already managing that. I don't think it needs to be in there.
But
And-
then it's still not gonna change the outcome of
I
what
think
you're
we're just
talking
trying
about.
to make it clear that
Right.
this
That's right.
advantage or a potential increase that you've allowed under the STR ordinance would really not be applicable to the ADUs. And we
If
just
it's-
wanted to make it clear right from the outset.
But if it's a studio and it doesn't have a bedroom,
Well, it's not a studio, it's an ADU. I'll use the
Okay.
term that's not in our ordinance.
Correct, that's correct, that's
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
that's correct.
so if it is square footage, I'm trying to make sure I'm using the correct terminology. If it is the square footage that would allow in any other scenario 2 plus 2, why would we not allow it in an ADU? If it was not classified as an ADU, why would we not still then allow a 2 plus 2?
Because I think then it will start to be short thrifting the other elements of what should be an ADU, a kitchen space and a bathroom space.
Okay, so that's your feeling as opposed to the actual letter of what's in our ordinance, which I don't think we should be regulating around. We should be
Again, that's-
regulating around what is written here.
That's your call as the town council. If you think the ADUs potentially could have 4 people in them, then that's what you should be putting in as your policy.
If that's what the square footage
The square
says
footage
in
supports
our,
that, I
if
think
it
it should.
supports it, then I don't see any reason why we should be applying a different set of regulations.
Then
Because that makes actually the square footage regulations around STRs in any other situation moot, right? They don't mean anything then if you're not gonna apply them across the board. Silence.
No, I agree it should be consistent, and maybe the language there is, I
But
don't,
keep,
like,
and again, I'm gonna argue the other side from this. Keep in mind, 550 is the maximum.
right.
Not all of them are at the maximum. Most of them are somewhere less.
So
So
would-
say they are all at 550, and you wanna allow 4 people to sleep in there. That means you gotta have 200 dedicated for the bedroom alone. So that leaves you 330 of living space that these 4 people have to occupy in most of the time.
Well, I think we're getting to the point of 2 + 2, which is 2 adults and two children.
So
But
you're,
it doesn't have to be 2 children. I don't want you guys to think. of
can I
course,
just interrupt for a second? So
part of
what you're saying, because what you
Okay.
just said helped me see something a little differently. I just
Yeah.
want to maybe, it will help others. So because an ADU is both the bedroom and the living space, and the kitchen space, and the
kitchen
bathroom. So
Efficiency.
what you're saying is that bedroom space needs to be able to meet the need of the same thing that a bedroom space wouldn't be in the house.
Giving the same rules to a 550 square foot ADU to a 1,400 square foot home,
Right.
I do not think is apples to apples, is all I'm saying. In both the use of how people will be living in this space, it doesn't mean it's going to be a family with kids. Under our definition of, I'm gonna get this wrong, I think it is a family, we actually have expanded that definition not to be a blood relation.
Right.
It could be roommates. So you could have 4 adults in this ADU. And those 4 adults don't just sleep there, they have to actually live there. I'm just making you think of those things. If you think that is acceptable,
So I think
then
we're
try
viewing
this.
the ADU as a short-term rental. You're talking about it as a living space for the family.
Well,
Like
do
what
we
you-
regulate
No,
it in
it
a
doesn't.
long-term
It's a family that's
situation,
over a weekend.
Right.
It's
But if
or a
we-
week.
They're not like
But if
really
we-
living
That's-
there.
that's a good
Are
point.
are we regulating it if they're long-term rental? Are we
Right, that's
telling
what I'm
people,
One
hey,
bedroom.
it's, no, if we're right now, anywhere in our ordinance does it say an ADU that can be a long-term rental can only have X number of occupants? No, we do
actually
not.
do based upon bedroom.
So
And
why
right now,
would
every
we,
single one is built with just 1 bedroom, and that's what Jeb is certifying occupancy based upon.
and then he's basing it, and what is what is the,
Definition of the bedroom that's in our zoning ordinance is the same
correct,
as in the
is
building
it
code.
still 2 + 2 for a long-term rental?
No, 2 + 2 is a
STR.
benefit you guys gave through the STR
Yes, to the-
process.
So then what is, so help me, because I'm getting closer to your side of things, and I'm hoping you can get me there. If it's a long-term rental right now at 5,500 to 550 square feet, how many people can live in that space?
Jeb will go in and look at the bedroom and measure for the bedroom and set the occupancy based upon that. So if the bedroom is of that space, is only 100 square feet, that's 2 people.
Right.
That's it. But if it's only 70 square feet, then that's 1 person.
So you said earlier though that the ADU is the entire living space. So now we're saying bedrooms.
Yes, it's bedroom.
That's,
It's
so,
bedroom.
so is
It's
it,
bedroom.
but it's bedroom or is it one large space?
Oh,
It's like a decent
I
flat.
say living space, I'm asking you to put in your brain 550 square feet and having to fit all of these elements that are in a house in typical that you would use and move from room to room and use and sit down and spend say you had to spend all 24/7. It rained the whole time they were here on their vacation. They were stuck in their ADU. Think about that. If it's 2 people in a 550 square feet is far different than 4 people and 4 adults in 550 square feet. That's all I'm asking you to do. But you've now asked me that question. When we certify the certificate of occupancy that the building official does on these properties, it is based upon bedroom size, period. Your STR gave a bonus consideration to add 2 more people into that equation. That is not part of what has ever been provided for an ADU.
So
If you wish to
I'm
do so,
saying,
you can.
I'm saying we should give the same occupancy as you would give to a long-term rental. And it can then this again becomes superfluous. You don't need to put,
Except the long-term rental, it does not have the ability to add 2 additional occupants.
so no long-term rentals here have families in the ADUs, is what that is essentially saying. It is just a 1 person in the
It could be a
ADUs.
1 or up to 2 people, depending on.
What if they
the
have
square
2
footage.
bedrooms?
None of them
So far,
are.
no
Yes,
ADU.
yeah, right.
There are some. that
I'm
don't.
not aware that Jeb has let me know of any that he has inspected that have that.
I know of at least one.
So,
that
So it
does.
sounds like we are aware of one.
Mhm.
and that may be the case. So if they have 2 bedrooms, again, I don't know what the square footage is assigned to those bedrooms, would it allow for 1 person in each or 2 people in each? I don't know that.
Yeah, but either way, it would already be covered
Yes.
under the inspection. Like if it's 2 bedrooms, it's gonna be approved as 2 bedrooms. So it would, you know what I mean? It's not
Again, 2 bedrooms,
with egress and all the things that are
it could
required.
be 2 bedrooms, but only it's 70 square feet, which only allows 1
One
person per
Yes,
bedroom.
it does, yep.
Sorry,
That's what I
those
said, based on,
distinctions
I
matter.
said based on inspection.
Yes.
Said I don't argue with yourself. I said the same thing.
Really, it's gonna come up to what the building
Yeah, I
code
mean, it goes
official
back to that.
finds out.
Do hotels fall under a different set of standards and requirements for like square footage and bedrooms and all that?
Again, they do, under the building code.
Okay.
Yes, because that is a group setting, and so there are different laws that govern them relative to sprinkler systems and size of bedrooms and the bathrooms that go in those hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, et cetera.
Gotcha.
Egress, all that stuff.
Oh, so with all this, I'm not sure where we ended up, whether it's in or out. The fact that this is going into section 414 talks about occupancy in STRs. That's why
Right,
the
that's why that-
language
that-
is there.
Yeah.
It's not long-term rentals, it's not just regular family, single-family homes or whatever. It's in short-term rentals, and that's why the clarification was proposed.
I have a subsidiary question. The way our ordinances are written right now, if this was adopted, I realize there are steps to get there, something along these lines. People could still STR the main house and long-term rent the ADU, correct?
Yes.
Yes, you could.
Yes.
Okay, it's just not STR and
Right.
Just want to make sure. Okay,
Or vice versa.
yes. LTR the one and yes,
They
yes,
could.
yes, yes.
Because again, keep in mind, nowhere in our ordinance do we require the property owner to reside on the premises at all. So they can rent everything, they just can't have both of the STRs. Under
Understood.
this proposed.
Under this
language.
proposed, yes.
Yes.
I had a little nit on, the language is being inserted in 414, item B, and you have a new item 4. There's already 7 items,
It'll get bumped.
so you're going to insert it as 4 and everything drops down below?
Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't know whether this is taking the place of 4 or,
And if we read the sentence that Katie has before, the one that we were questioning, the ADU is prohibited, doesn't it cover it, the sentence before?
Yes.
what was that, say that again?
So if you go up a sentence, the sentence that says, if the ADU is applying for an STR zoning permit, the requirements outlined in the STR ordinance must be met to establish number of applicable bedrooms and occupancy for the STR, period. Doesn't that cover it?
I think so.
Well, yes and no, because again, under this section 414, you already have under an STR, forget ADU, under an STR, you already have the 2 per bedroom plus 2.
Oh,
So this is addressing something different for ADUs.
right.
We're eliminating the plus 2 on ADUs.
And again, this was the recommendation coming out, at least the first half of this, yes, clearly came from the planning commission. Again, when we talked about this, we knew that there was going to be some conflict, both from the size of the ADUs and how this interacts with the STR ordinance. So, again, I will throw this on myself. That last 2 sentences came from me, trying to clean up the language as we discussed it with the planning commission. So again, if I captured the intent from the planning commission wrong, I acknowledge that and offer them every opportunity to,
Well, we'll have an opportunity again, because
Right.
we're sending it to the planning commission again.
I want to make sure, is the children under 2 would not count toward this number? Because that's in the STRs.
Right.
let's say,
So that would still, you could be in an ADU as an STR, let's see how many more letters I can throw in there.
Have a toddler.
2 adults and a baby and a toddler.
I don't think they'll be checking IDs.
It's fake ID.
So, just walking through process, so yes, you could say we want to discuss and send this to a work session as a whole, or you could take some component of this, and I did provide a proposed resolution for your consideration if you wish to send some or all of this proposed language out, starting the public hearing process.
Well, I'm for,
Anybody want to make a motion?
yeah, I'll make a motion for approving resolution of intent 2025-1016, a proposed comprehensive plan amendment and a zoning text amendment, and remove in this section item number 3, future land use, mixed-use designation as a separate item that will be discussed with the planning commission and town council as a separate subject.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, so the proposed comprehensive plan amendment and zoning text amendment 2025-02, application from the town Cape Charles to amend Article 3, Section 3.3, and forego the reading of the resolution.
But as amended,
As
because we
amended.
amended it to take it out. I vote yes.
Paul, what did you say you wanted to send back to planning though?
Well,
Except one
this
section.
resolution sends it back to planning.
Okay, gotcha.
Planning now picks up
I
what
got
we
you.
have discussed. They can still
Yeah, I wasn't.
change it,
I got you.
okay?
This sends it formally out to public hearing.
But then it goes to public hearing.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
And it's not that they can change it again, they can recommend changes back to you.
Right, that's right,
Public
that's
hearing
right.
process. So I do want some clarity because I understand what we're doing, we're going to public hearing. You asked me to pull out,
At item number 3.
no, that I
Right,
get.
right.
You want to talk about the tax incentive or credit program, or is that? a
Oh,
discussion?
yeah, we said we wanted to just talk in general terms. A couple of us had talked about it. I think we want to entertain future discussion on what kind of options, because I think the intent was, can we incentivize
Long-term rental.
long-term rentals for ADUs? And, okay, we need some ideas coming back to,
What can we get,
Yeah.
what can we do legally in that
in
way?
in a way, how much that would cost. Again, it comes out of taxpayers' pockets of subsidizing, that's what I'll use, the word subsidizing, long-term rental ADU.
Well, we can also propose it to come out of top tax too.
Wherever it comes,
Wherever it comes,
we,
yeah.
the town,
Right.
I prefer coming out.
taxpayers will come out of our
I
pockets.
prefer coming from
Why
someone
would
else's
we, why
taxes.
would we just limit that to ADUs? And why not entertain, any residents?
Well, that's something they can bring up.
I mean,
It's not- I wouldn't have to
To
limit
me,
it
that would be a part of our work session on housing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be an agenda item, a part of that we could, but it would be great if Katie could have some recommendations of how we would be able to go about doing that.
And I feel I'm in a more controlled
Primarily.
fashion where I know how many ADUs we have.
Yeah.
At least we think we have.
Yeah.
And it's a defined population as opposed to, well, let's just open it up to entire, 1,200 units that we have housing.
Right, and how do they prove it and all
I'd
that.
like to take a baby step and see how much that would cost.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, thank you. You still need to vote on the
yes, and this is a,
I thought we just did.
no, it's a roll call vote.
Okay.
You voted on the amendment.
We voted on it with the pulling out 3 out of the,
Right.
resolution. So, you got a roll call vote. Newman?
Yes.
Holloway, yes.
Rosen?
Yes.
Ashworth, yes.
Buckles, yes. Let it be known, the resolution is passed. All right, town manager comments.
Did you want to do the derelict structure presentation or no?
Oh,
Yes,
do
we
we
said
did?
we did. We
did,
added
but-
it to the agenda.
Oh, I didn't put it in as a number, it's number 8,
Anybody else need water?
yeah. Anybody,
I was shut up.
Could I get one, Tara?
Yes.
Feel free to take about 2 hours of your time, Katie.
well, I'm gonna take,
Yeah, I was like, might be need a potty break.
You missed me last month, I know you did.
No, you're
Okay,
right,
I mean,
Katie.
I'm there after you, Andy.
Oh, what, can you guys
should be on, it's not on my screen.
Thank you.
Do you have crushed ice? Just in a small glass with a lime?
It says
Okay.
click this link.
Rick, do you need one?
Oh, thank you.
It's not on my screen at all.
I know our IT person is across the street and we need
Yeah.
Now nothing's moving on my
Yeah.
screen. Okay, I can't pull it up on the screen, but you have it in your minutes packet tonight.
We do.
So you can see the slides that I gave you last month in your minutes
If I
section.
can figure out how to get to it. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay,
Hey, can you turn it up?
can I turn it up?
I'm just kidding.
So for the last roughly, oh, thank you. For the last
You're teaching me
3
that.
years or so, Jeb and I have been giving you this report, trying to ensure that we're keeping on track of what might be derelict structures under our ordinance, and specifically the section of our historic district ordinance that talks about demolition by neglect. And so part of that is, yes, our first year or 2 years was really focused on those buildings that were in that condition and working with the property owners to take care of that. And then we wanted to be more active and progressive in talking with property owners that we feel are starting to head down that path, and see if we can intercede and work with them to ensure we don't get too far down where it makes it financially irresponsible to try and maintain these properties. I won't say irresponsible, maybe financially impossible to continue to maintain these properties. So this is giving you an update on the properties that we've been working on in that fashion. So we still had a little bit of lingering. Last year we gave you the report on 426, 428 Randolph. This year we get to report, yes, all the exterior work is finished, and so from our side of the equation of the historic district, they are out of being in a demolition by neglect status case. There is still internal renovation work that is going to occur in that property. It just probably will not occur right away because, again, there's prioritizing of the finances of the property owner to get the exterior work done first. So just to make you aware of that. 542 Jefferson. This one had been our longest case that was sitting out there, starting back in '21, where we had an unauthorized demolition of the house. And then over time, the property was sold. And yes, with the new owners, when they took possession, they absolutely acknowledged that the violation was still in the property and continued that they would honor the approved plans that were in mid-progress of being constructed, and they finished the entire project as required. So that is now a closed case for us as well, which is great news. Moving on to, sorry, Libby, I should have changed. From 1 Fig Street, this has been probably our hardest case that we have worked on in the district as a whole. And initially, it really wasn't our focus, but we had a opportunity come in when the property sold a few years ago and came forward with a business redevelopment plan. And so we did approve demolition and remediation work on it as the first phase. We then approved the second phase, which allowed for an expansion, an addition be added to the property. You as a council approved a conditional use permit for housing units on the second story. There's going to be a restaurant on the first story. We gave them all the necessary town permits to keep moving forward. But at that point, then the project sort of stalled. So we had an open, exposed building, and really no further progress to bring it back and close and in-house. That took us a solid year and a half, if not 2 years, to bring us back to where we are today, at least buttoning it back up, getting the roof back on, and closing all the openings at this point in time, ensuring that they put the windows. They did not have to put back the original windows, but again, we allowed them to put back in what we approved under the renovation plan. As you may recall, there used to be these very large garage doors. We did not require those to go back in, but did allow, again, what was the approved plans when this was proposed to be a restaurant, those door openings to be installed in that fashion.
It looks great.
Are they
We're
do-
glad to be at this point.
Are they doing anything or intending on inside, any work?
At this point, no, there are no open permits. They have no permits from us for any of the housing units on the second story or for the addition that would go into the adjacent property that they purchased and added to this parcel as well.
It's
That
for
would
sale
expand-
still.
It's for sale at this point in time. There is a minor element of some of the historic character that still needs to be restored onto the property on the second story windows in particular.
In the back.
And on the back, so we're still working with them on those issues. Again, we've given them time because the back ones in particular, if there is going to be an addition, that would be money not well spent. Because from the addition, those things would come out again. So we're trying to buy some more time to see if it can sell to somebody that wants to use this for commercial venture of a restaurant and maybe follow the same expansion plans that we had seen once before. So we're gonna still keep it on the list and continue to work with them as they try and sell the property to see if we can resolve that issue. Other ones that are on the list at this point is at 619 Mason Avenue. It is making progress, but it's still not off the list because it's not finished yet. But we can see that progress is ongoing on that property. And one that we had from last year is at 115 Fig Street. That did get resolved. I know it may not be the most pleasant looking, but really our functionality when we do the demolition by neglect is under the building code standard, that it was just buttoning it up to ensure that we're not having water intrusion or elemental intrusion into the building to further undermine it. And one of the issues that we had with this property, all that flaking that was going on, there was the testing of lead paint, and so the easiest thing was just to get paint applied over it at this point in time, so that is the course of action we allow the homeowner to take.
Can I ask you a question? Is there like a different standard for commercial property than residential? Like why on this house are they allowed to just board up the door or just the windows, I guess, in this photograph, whereas on Kellogg, you're still concerned with them putting the actual windows in place? I'm just curious. I don't know.
Because the Kellogg was actually approved. The owners received all their permits. Financing is not an element as to why you cannot not do your project, per se. Meaning they were allowed to remove all of these elements based upon the
gotcha.
renovation plan, and they chose to abandon that renovation plan.
Gotcha.
So we did hold them to that requirement they had to bring these things back, at least to get it buttoned back in a proper way to that renovation plan. Okay? There were a couple others that we've identified as of last year that we wanted to intervene. As I said, 115 was our first one, which has been now resolved. The rest we've been less successful in closing out this year. 122 Pine is still an ongoing case for us. We are having little success in working with the property owner to have them tackle the things that need to be tackled on this property. 400 Jefferson Avenue, we're having similar issues with that as well. And 636 Madison is in the same condition, and so is 649 Monroe.
All right, so when you say that, are people talking to us or just ignoring us?
They talk to us, they make promises, and do not live up to those promises.
So I guess the question, like we've had for B-pole taxes and what have you, when do we, as a town, step in? Because that, I think, is the option, is for us to do what's necessary to stabilize these houses and put a lien on the property.
Yes, part of that is I'm gonna have to come back to you with an estimated amount, and have you funded. And see if we will actually do the work required. But some of this may be maybe a couple $1,000, some of it may be more than just a couple of
Right,
$1,000
right.
to
But
do
I'm
it.
saying, without a figure to discuss, this go on forever, and
You're
either we're
correct,
gonna-
Paul. So that's what will be coming next from Jeb and myself in
okay,
the near future.
all right.
Is we will be coming to you with a dollar amount saying, we think this is how much it's gonna take if we have to
Right.
undertake all this work and get contractors in here. And yes, then a lien will get placed, but it could be years before you ever see that money come back to you.
I agree.
And it's, will you advance the money in
Right.
your budget to make this happen?
All right.
Yes. So that's why I didn't go into any detail about the specifics of these.
No, that's fine.
Because they all are in the same boat at this point in time. And so, we have not added any new properties to pursue at this point. We are maintaining a running list of what we would consider next. And so we have provided that list to you as well. So,
Can we even gain access to these properties? legally, I guess, can we gain access to, even if we were to estimate? You know, I can walk around the property and kind of guess, but would I have to gain access to it?
We would have the ability to gain because we put them under notice of violation.
Right, okay,
through this
okay,
process.
okay.
Yes. Okay. And so that's all I have for my report.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm done. Boss.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take the rest of the night off.
Yeah.
All right, so, town manager comments.
All right, well, you guys missed Katie, so thank you, Katie, for making sure we were full of Katie. So,
You won't be sick again, right? You'll be like, forget about it, you people.
so I just got a few things I just want to bring to the council's attention. So just praise my staff. So I've been away now twice, once because of family issues, and put Bob Panic in charge for that time. Everything ran smooth, even staff elements. I kept in touch via email and phone calls, and then was gone for the VML. I'll keep wanting to say CML because they're so similar, Colorado and Virginia. And so it was just good. The staff were, they did great. Just some highlights of just what's going on with personnel and so forth. So staffing and personnel, Casey Quilter, as you heard, is our new inspector and compliance officer for the short-term rentals, and he was hired September 23rd, and he's been a great asset to our team. I mean, he's already getting involved. He's got a lot of competency and confidence. He's got an education background and a contractor background as well, and so it's good to have somebody who understands and quickly has learned. So good job on that one. Second is Karen Crum, and she was hired on September 30th, and she is the new library assistant, and she's going to focus on programming and outreach, public community outreach. She is very outgoing, so if you want to go by the library and meet her, she would love that. And also Jessica Upshur for the finance department, as you read in the weekly reports. So this is another stellar hire. She is a finance assistant. She started on October 10th. She has worked 8 years for the county, and she focused on personal property tax, accounting, and customer service, and she is another delight to be around.
And
So,
she lives in Cape Charles.
and she
Oh,
lives
very
in Cape
nice.
Charles. So how did we do that? Here, another one, we announced the retirement of Jerry Murphy, November 1st. Or he is being announced, and we're just letting you know.
Again?
Jerry worked really hard for the town as the accountant,
He did.
and
Bless his heart.
he almost has 10 years under his belt.
Yes.
So he's going to, he was an incredible, valuable employee for the town.
He'll be back. Just kidding.
Well, he's retired.
Second time.
We will miss Jerry, even though I never got to work with him, but I have met with him several times to talk to him, and we wish him the very best in his retirement.
So is Jessica taking his place, or
Correct.
Jessica's in it? No, that's it.
Well,
No, different skill sets at this point.
but
Okay.
we hired her full-time in the finance department, so that took up a full-time position.
Okay.
It's not the same position, but we used the full-time position. Staff and training, this is another one I think it's important for the council to know, since Paul originally cut back our development and training. So we want to show that we are using these things. So thanks, Paul.
You better use it all up. I'll cut it more.
Don't worry, we got
Use it or lose it.
Yeah, I know. So
The mid-budget-
I heard you that
mid-budget
first
cycle
time, so I
coming
want to make sure we use this. But I think it's important that you highlight that our staff are taking it seriously. Sharon Sylvie, library manager, she attended the Virginia Library Association's With Libraries All Rise conference in Richmond. Sharon reported that she has completed the VRSA webinar, and it's and Connie Drummond, our permit technician in the Code Enforcement Office, she's completed and passed 4 classes through the Virginia Department of Housing and Development, VADHCD, for those who love acronyms. So those are continuing education
That's
requirements, and she does those. Every time I see her, she's taking something, so she is always on. Jody, our HR director, attended a virtual HR roundtable facilitated by Versa. HR is pleased to announce that we are very close to 100% of employees that have completed the required trio of cybersecurity training through an online university. Staff has, on their own, been taking advantage of many good and free trainings that are provided on the online university. I, with 3 of our council people, did attend the VML, and I have a brief overview of what that was about in just a minute. I'll talk through that. Our clerk, Libby, she has taught second half of the 6-hour Athenian dialogue via Zoom. And she's also attended the annual Municipal Clerks Institute and Academy, which she facilitated an Athenian dialogue and taught a 2-hour Clerks Essential class. So way to go, Libby. So I'll go through just other highlights for you guys to know. It's been brought to our attention about the collection boxes for the USPS around town. We have 6. And I've noticed, through the notifications and reports from concerned citizens that they're in derelict condition. The painting's faded, the seals and the decals are peeling back, and then it's really hard to even read any kind of scheduling or what time the service is being picked up. So I created an extensive list with pictures of all of them, and then did an assessment that you can see on each box, if I can show what that looks like. So an assessment that I got off of the website of what they do. So I did it, of looking at it. And then they have standards as far as their collection boxes of what is required for each community. And if they're not to the standard that the USPS holds, then we can request them to be fixed or completely replaced. And so I had my assistant, Pam, go talk to them, and they basically shut her down. So I did the assessment, and I hand-delivered it to the postmaster today, and she shut me down. And basically said, I'm not going to replace it, we'll put new stickers on it, and that was it. And I was like, well, we'll do that again. So I'm going to put together a resolution next for the council to sign, and then we're going to take it up to the next level, until we get them fixed. So I just wanted you to keep that informed. She asked why, and it's because we have a beautiful community, and we believe that, all of our factors should be up to the standard that our people deserve. So we're gonna continue to do it.
Along with mail delivery.
Yeah. I did the bi-weekly or bi-monthly. I say bi-monthly, but some people say it's either or, that you can say it formally. But it is 7 pages, so I hope that you noticed that it's much shorter.
Yes.
And
Just-
bulleted, it's great. It was
Okay,
great.
so we are working hard. Our staff, they actually love it. That some have a hard time, but
You're getting there.
including myself. But just a couple things to highlight. Some of you are aware, and we put newsletters and everything and notifications, but there's a fraud alert from her department, and there's multiple emails that have gone out. Katie has already gone and communicated to her boards, and so we are putting it out to be on the lookout. But we wanted our community as a whole, we put it on text notifications and everything, that we just don't want people to be succumb to the fraud alert. But I put it in the newsletter as well.
It's very ironic, because that came up at
I
VML.
did. That's
Well,
what I
and
told
that's
them.
what was good about the statement in there, that this is happening.
Yeah. And even
statewide.
my friend who's in Abingdon got the exact same one.
Yeah.
Or several of the same things that happened to us. So we talked about it.
Fishing.
Marion, you said I was supposed to bring the cash to your house, though, right?
All right. If you have any questions on this, please, let me know or send me an email. You did get the spreadsheet showing the project breakdown, so that's that. B-poll, we are enforcing that. We could have attached a 10% penalty onto everyone's. That's what code says, that we have the authority to do. We're not trying to play that card, but we could, but we're just trying to get people to go into compliance. So we did have one situation that we worked through and was able to come to a resolution peacefully. And so we gave them until tomorrow to come into compliance. So I did remove the red card, and we are working professionally with them to get it back in good standing. So
I have some info for you on this list
Thank you.
that will help.
Appreciate you looking.
And I do have one question. The STRs, which are on the back page, they shouldn't be able to operate at STR if they're delinquent that much.
I don't know if they are or not.
Operating?
Right.
Okay,
I'll go over that.
right, yeah.
And then you had any STRs on that list?
I didn't know they were STRs. They were just names and then I looked further into.
When did we get those, Tammy?
She put it out tonight.
Just to me and you.
Oh, I'll show you. Sorry.
Because you two volunteered the last.
That's right,
Right,
yeah.
that's right.
If you'd help.
Yes, yes, so I already made some notes I'll give to you.
So they did not help? Is that what you're saying, Katie?
We didn't get the.
For the record,
we
they
just-
did not
we
step
just
up
got
to
the
fulfill?
list.
Okay.
We just got
all
the
right.
list tonight, and I've been helping Marion on the phone, just so you know.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was
All
a-
right.
That was 2 hours ago.
So, just a couple, only 3 items left. I have received a letter of intent for a lease agreement for one of the bathroom proposals. And so I reached out, and this one would be for 7 Strawberry, and I'm still waiting on 11 Peach. I've reached out twice, but have not been able to get in touch with the owner. I will try again. But I've got one, so we will do a work session to discuss this. And so this would be for the permanent bathroom, long-term solution.
But it's gonna be more than just this option, right? It's gonna include Peach, it's gonna include the museum, railroad, whatever, and
We're gonna try to provide
All of it.
all
the
the
above.
options
All
for
right,
that.
all right.
And that's why we haven't scheduled it yet.
Right.
I'm just informing you that I have finally received one. I wanted to put this on the agenda last month, but we just couldn't move fast enough. So it's coming.
7 Strawberry is Vibe, where Vibe was? Am
It's
I-
where the kayak little place is.
Oh, the
right
Bettis
beside the
building.
Bettis,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha, I
Yeah.
couldn't,
It would just be the front part of it, not the whole.
yeah, good.
I'm also working on an assessment of the Mason Avenue electrical upgrade documents that me and Bob are working on. So we've kind of been doing some mapping and looking at stuff, because we're gonna try to correct the IFB that went out and talk to the guys to see, can we redo this? But it was wonky. It was bad. And I struggled with even communicating, but it's really bad. So now we're trying to go back to say, what are we trying to accomplish? The
Right.
poles are the most important things. The trees are secondary. And so we're working at trying to come up with something, but stay tuned. We're moving forward on that.
Okay.
And then last, I just want to give you an overview from the VML. I thought this was good. Paul, Andy, and Tammy and I were there. We kind of split up and conquered and divided. We didn't all go to one thing, but kind of divided and stuff. But overall, in the beginning is a Mayor's Institute, and that's for the first day, and it extends into the second day. And it's such a great opportunity for training for mayors to get together, and they actually give certifications of going through classes and stuff. So it's just well done. VML annual conference, it did run from the 12th through the 14th, and it was at the Hotel Roanoke. It's really beautiful. It reminded me of Hotel Colorado, and it's just a beautiful hotel. It's a maze when you get in there, though, because you get lost pretty quick.
I still didn't know my way around by the time we were leaving.
Yeah. City, town, county officials across Virginia participated in policy sessions, networking, training, and awards. One thing that was just interesting was about the awards. So they do innovation awards. VML announces, and they do different categories of types of awards that you can win. So it consists of communications, community health, economic development, environmental quality, public safety, risk management, and working with youth. And so there were 3 winners. You had the City of Alexander. They won the Budget Communications Award. The City of Danville won the Outdoor Award and also the Presidential Award overall. And then you had the City of Roanoke that did a Safety Award event, risk management focused. And what we noticed is that we probably have many projects that we're working on that we should be submitting next year, because our projects, we felt, are just as good as what they were doing. And so I'm going to be putting together and applying for these for next year for these awards. And who knows, we could sweep the table.
Yeah.
You know, that's our goal. We're
We
going to try to
came
win
up with
all.
like 5 ideas at the table. Not that we were
I mean,
jealous.
you aim high.
They were fairly dumbfounded when I told them what our budget was. Really?
So policy advocacy sessions, the conference agenda included workshops, breakout sessions, panel discussions on municipal governments, on best practices, legislative advocacy, infrastructure, local economic development, and public service innovation. And then just the networking component of meeting other council members and town managers and those who are doing exactly what we're doing, rubbing shoulders, listening to best practices and talking about your struggles and pains. And there's always someone who's been there, done that, and is there to help you talk through things. And so it's just a great opportunity, whether small town or large towns or municipal governments to infrastructure maintenance. It's just a great opportunity. I feel honored that we had a chance to go. It is different than what I'm used to. There's a whole lot more fighting and arguing than I've ever experienced.
At the business
legislative
meeting.
Yeah. And
That's
even
always
the
entertaining.
end State of the Union, I was expecting my standards a lot higher, where they're spreadsheets, like Paul would have loved Colorado's version, of showing you from each county of what's going on in the micro and the macro, and in ways that we individually could be focusing on. So there's always takeaways that we can have, and so
That's
it's okay. We have a chance to learn and grow and become better involved. So that's a wrap.
I just have one VML comment. I think this is my 6th time. I'm not positive. It could be 7th, but definitely 6th. And when I first started going, and people would be like on the elevator and they'd be like, "Cape Charles, where's that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's on Virginia's Eastern Shore." Where's that? You know, I must have repeated it like 50 times in being there. The first 3 years we were there. Hands down, the last 3 years,
Yeah.
and this year in particular, you see Cape Charles and then it takes over the whole conversation at the table. They're like, "Oh, my family goes there for a week and my neighbor, blah, 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 blah." Nobody needs to question where we are anymore. So I thought that was really, really impressive because this really represents all of Virginia.
I had the
It's a
same-
notable change.
I had the same thing in the mayor's conference. I had people come up and say, "Your town's so great. We were just there last week."
Many people I met too. It's just
Pretty
like
neat,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had one item to add as a follow-up to VML. One of our conferences, sessions was about town manager evaluations. And we talked amongst ourselves that we need to have a work session
Yeah.
to bring our evaluation sheet back to the table
Yes.
to review with Rick as well as ourselves to refresh that. And then we wait for the actual evaluation come next year after a year.
Right.
But we feel we need to make that as a work session for ourselves.
I agree, and sooner than later, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that way you can make it more comprehensive than what we've done. I think the first one we did, you did a great job putting it together, and then we went to the checkbox kind of thing, so, with comments. I think that would be.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the process
Yeah.
to see
I think
what's,
it'd be-
what's easier and not what's more effective. That's really what we come down to. How do we communicate back and forth?
I had 2 other things, but they're quick.
Go ahead.
Everyone, I'm sure, has been having Verizon issues.
Not
And
me.
it has impacted our businesses significantly. And just personally, as a business, I was losing 3-4 reservation calls a day for 2 weeks. And there's been a Facebook group that's kind of shared, reported on 611, Verizon. And I also took it to Eastern Shore Tourism, Eastern Shore Chamber, for them to call as representatives of those areas in Cape Charles Main Street. All 3 of them have done that, but magically.
The fiber was cut.
Yes, but nobody could communicate that, Jimmy.
have to get permission from the
Right. But no one. I mean, we all called. I mean, probably hundreds of people. Could they communicate? It was never the answer. It was like, "I don't know why it doesn't work. I don't know. Let me give you $60 towards your bill." I was like, "Well, that doesn't take care of 5 reservations." So yeah, it looks like it's working. right? You know, so I'm holding my breath, but
I've been on
I haven't had SOS all day, so.
Yeah, they fixed it yesterday.
Okay, I'm feeling like I was ready to get, like, go to the big guns, because this was getting really bad.
I'm surprised they didn't convert you to different towers, because I run,
No,
I
I'm not
just-
getting SOS anymore,
so I'm using Spectrum, but they work off everybody's towers.
yeah. I mean, I was
So-
doing Wi-Fi calling, the whole, I mean, I was on 3 times in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look online in the discussion, it's been many people, so, I think I just wanted our residents to know that we were doing things behind the scenes as far as trying to help get the ball rolling there. And then hopefully everybody saw the new county administrator, announcement. Matt Spuck, who's the town manager of,
Fletcher didn't know that.
no, town manager of Anacog is going to be our new county administrator, and that's a very positive thing. I've worked with Matt, he and his wife own the Inn at Anacog, and so I've worked with them for over 5 years. They're great folks.
And
So I
I've
know
had
you've been working with
two
them too,
regional meetings with them.
yeah.
Anybody else? I just want to say, one of the things we did at VML that I ran into quite a bit is, it's more than networking, is actually communication throughout the county. So not only our location, but reaching out to other towns, just to have maybe a discussion, so we can basically be on the same page, work together to help work out some of the regional areas or issues that pop up that we can try to help resolve, i.e. housing. So and housing was a big proponent, that whole thing, because we're not the only ones, it's the whole nation, it's just not us. So it's one of these things that I think if we can work together, work smarter, not harder, and I think we might be able to achieve some goals somewhere along the line through either Virginia Housing or DHCD or Accomack Northampton Planning District. You know, I know they're pretty limited, but if I think we start reaching out and start working on it, we might be able to get some areas working. It might not be here, it might be somewhere else, but that's fine. As long as we can start addressing these issues down the road, I think it's gonna be a win for everybody, quite honestly. That's how I see it. But housing's been a real tough one. Anyway, that's all I have.
May I just ask one question? Did we, and you may have mentioned this or answered this, Rick, in our last meeting, did we get that application in for the beachfront master plan?
Yeah.
And when is the time frame that we would start to hear back?
November.
Yeah, mid-November is what I was told.
Mid-November, okay,
Yeah.
so within the next couple of weeks?
Mhm.
Okay, that's great, thank you so much.
And that was a $2 million grant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anybody else? Can I give a motion to
I'll make a
adjourn?
motion that we adjourn?
All, second? All in favor?
Aye.